All right, we got some rumors to dive into here on Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. Before we get into all of that, we are just 13 subs away from 111,000. Join the 110,000 plus strong. You could be number 111,000. We appreciate all the love and support you guys continue to give myself, producer Colin, and the rest of the Chat Sports team. Subscribe if you want daily Bears content. Is Ryan Poles frustrated with the Bears' organizational structure? I'll go 2 smoking Jays. I thought about going 3, but I think this is firmly in the rumor speculation range, but definitely a real possibility. Marc Silverman, a.k.a. Silvy, ESPN 1000, had this to say. It's kind of a long quote, so hang with us. He said, "I was told that Ryan Poles took the Bears job because he liked the direct reporting nature to the team owner. It was very appetizing for him as a GM to report directly to ownership. There was no buffer. If he had an issue, he could go right to George McCaskey." And then when Kevin Warren was hired, he was frustrated with that from the start. It wasn't a personal thing with Kevin, but it was something that he didn't like. He went from reporting to the owner to not reporting to now reporting to the team president, who reports to the owner. He was very vocal about that inside the building, that he maybe would not have taken the job to begin with if he knew that would be the case. He later said, "This is a theory. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe at the end of the year, if there was a mutual parting of ways." Now, my initial thought is take this with a grain of salt. Silvy's had a lot of good info over the years. The last time he came out with a strong report, I don't think it was the most accurate of all time. I'm not saying he's right, he's wrong. There could be some truth, could be completely false. Who knows? But I will say this. The thought process of this makes a lot of sense, because if I was hired to be a prominent position, like, hey, you're going to be the vice president of content strategy at Chat Sports, and you're going to report to this person. All right, cool. And then 12 months later, they bring in someone above me, but below the person I was reporting to is like a middleman who I now report to. I could understand being like, wait a second, that's not what I was sold on this job. That is not what I signed up for. It's a whole different structure within 12 months of me taking that job. Like, I could see Poles being like, hey, it's not a personal thing with Kevin Warren. They seem to get along fine, although we'll get to the recent presser in a second. It's more of just this is not what I was promised when you guys hired me to run this football operation. So whether Silvy's report is completely accurate or not, regardless, I could see that being like whoa, I don't know about this if you're Ryan Poles. And obviously how things transpired this year, it does seem like Kevin Warren has taken a little bit more control, which I do want to say as well, I can't blame Kevin Warren. Whether or not I think he's a smart guy or not and can make good decisions, I don't really know. But if I was a team president of a football team and the 2 guys under me were entering year 3 of a rebuild, and the expectation is to start at least being in the mix for the playoffs, and you come way short, you actually regress from the prior year, I'd probably take matters into my own hands as well, at least to a certain extent. I would take a little bit more control. So I don't really blame Kevin Warren, but I do understand if there's some truth to this from Ryan Poles. Like, God, like, I was given the keys to the car to run this football operation. Now there's this guy who's not really a football guy who I have to report to, I have to run every decision by, and I just feel like I'm stuck. Now, do I think Ryan Poles would resign at the end of the year? I'd be surprised, because GMs normally don't get a second chance. So if you're him, you probably have to stay the course and hope this plays out well and works out. But I'll say this, I can't give the visuals out of my head of that press conference after they had fired Matt Eberflus. Kevin Warren was the guy in charge. Ryan Poles, for lack of a better term, looked like the disgruntled stepchild. Like, he's there because he has to be there type of thing. Also, and I didn't even kind of think about this at the time, Kevin Warren was suited up. Ryan Poles is wearing a quarter zip. Like, I don't know how much those things matter, but I do think it's interesting. It's kind of like, this guy's clearly in charge. This guy may not be. It's just hard to shake. The visual, how Poles sounded in that presser, like, he seemed like a defeated man. And I get a lot of that was like, Flus didn't work out. That sucks, all that stuff. Maybe he had some regret there. But still, it's like you got to bring your A game, and he did not. And I think it's pretty clear that Kevin Warren is in charge of this thing. Doesn't mean that Poles isn't making football decisions. It just means that he has to report to him on every decision that is made. Will Ryan Poles stay on as the Bears GM after this season? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, you guys can probably tell, battling my voice here. Excuse me. All right, are the Bears going to hire an experienced head coach, someone who's been an NFL head coach before? I will go 3 smoking Jays on this one. If you ask me today, is that more likely than not? I would say yes. Now, I think this is between 2 and 3, kind of like the first one. So I think it's very much still in the rumor category. But we're going to dive into the whys. Jeremy Fowler joined CHGO yesterday, dropped a couple interesting nuggets that I want to get into as well. But first, do want to tell you guys first about our sponsor, Prize Picks. Do you want to play fantasy sports every single day? Look, I finished 4-10 in my season-long fantasy football league. Worst year of my career. Well, I'm playing daily fantasy every day with Prize Picks, and quite frankly, I've been ramping that up for weeks now because I've been out of it in my season-long league. That's the beauty of DFS, and no one does it better than Prize Picks. You set lineups of 2 or more players as long as it's 2 players on 2 different teams, and you pick more or less on the stat projections provided. Very simple. You can cross over your sports in your lineups as well if you want to kind of mix things up there. Pick more, pick less. It's Prize Picks. Here's an example of a lineup. They've got a little offer right now. Patrick Mahomes, half a passing yard. Obviously, you take the more on that. And then I took the more on Brock Purdy's passing yards. He torched the Bears last week. Feels like he kind of got back into a groove in that game. Niners got to make a strong push, obviously, here. 5 to win 15 on that entry. But our deal for you is if you're a new customer and you sign up right now at prizepicks.com/CLNS, use the code CLNS. When you play for just $5, you can tail me on that 2-player lineup. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You're going to get a $50 bonus straight into your account. So take advantage today. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS right now. Okay. Will the Bears hire a former head coach? Jeremy Fowler, Jesus, I'm struggling here. ESPN insider hopped on CHGO, and he said that from what he's been hearing early on here, that people in NFL circles believe that the Bears will lean on candidates with prior head coaching experience. And that brought me instantly to 4 names. Bill Belichick, who by the time you're watching this might be the North Carolina head coach, who knows. Mike Vrabel, who's obviously going to get looks by several teams. Brian Flores, former Dolphins head coach, current head coach or defensive coordinator, with the Minnesota Vikings. And then Kliff Kingsbury, former Cardinals head coach, who is now the Commanders offensive coordinator. Now, I've soured on Kliff a bit. We'll see how this season finishes. Belichick seems like the ultimate long shot, especially if he takes the UNC job. Obviously, he'd be out of the mix. Vrabel out of this grouping is the one that I think makes the most sense. He's won at least at a pretty well rate with the Titans, won the division 1 year, made the AFC Championship game another year. With Ryan Tannehill, I think his record was 39-24. So, Caleb Williams has more talent there if he brings in the right coordinators, which is another factor. He'd have to sell the Bears on that. In this category, if they're going to go former head coach, I would probably go Vrabel. He's only 49 years old, so if he hits, in theory, he could be here for a decade plus. So I would go there. Flores is kind of a wild card to me. Can he connect with Caleb? He had some success with the Dolphins as the head coach, but Tua hated him. A lot of the players weren't big fans, so I think he'd have to sell you on that. But obviously Vrabel could check that box of he's won at a fairly consistent rate, and he'd have more talent at quarterback here than he had in Tennessee. Do you guys want to hire a former head coach? Like, is that a must-have in this situation? Because for me, it's not a must-have. I would understand them doing that. I'm open to it. Vrabel's at or near the top of my list overall. But I think you need to be open-minded to all situations. Type 1 for yes, you do want to hire someone who's done it before, or type 0 for no, you do not. Bears drama. It always finds this team. Is there too much drama around this team right now? Yes. 4 smoking Jays, bear down. There's no doubt about it. The latest drama is Rome Odunze's father, James Odunze, quote tweeted a tweet from an account called Black Ditka, who says Rome Odunze would have 1,100 yards on any other NFC North team. James Adunze, Rome's father, says 1,500. So I kind of let this marinate yesterday because this happened yesterday on social media, and I was like, okay, let me sleep on this and kind of come up with a take. First of all, let's just look at the Bears receivers this year, right? DJ Moore, 712 yards. Rome Odunze, 585. Keenan Allen, 471. To me, that kind of speaks to they're spreading the ball around, right? Like, they don't necessarily have a huge pecking order coming into the season. What was the thought? Rome is going to be maybe the best number 3 in the NFL, and then if all goes well, him and DJ are your top 2 moving forward, and you probably just let Keenan Allen walk. I don't think that's changed. Like, is Rome being neglected here? Like, he's been pretty involved. Now, I get it. At times, in general, the offense has just been very spotty, whatever. But it's not like DJ's getting force-fed for 1,200 yards and Rome has 300. They're all within 250 yards of each other. Like, I don't really know what James Adunze's going for there. And then also, let's just take it a step further. Really? You think he goes to another one of these NFC North teams as a rookie and goes for 1,500 yards? I get he's your kid. You believe in him. But the Detroit Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta. I think he's a better overall talent and player than Jamison Williams, but he would be a complementary piece there as a rookie. Green Bay, they spread it around kind of like the Bears have this year to like 4 different guys. He's not going to emerge and have 1,500 yards. He won't get enough targets. Minnesota, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, he's their number 3 as a rookie there too. I think he could overtake Addison in year 2, year 3 potentially, but like it's just a naive comment. And more than that, it's unnecessary. Like, it's unnecessary. There's already too much like individualism on this team. There's too much drama. We don't need the father of the rookie wide receiver saying, yeah, my boy would go for 1,500 yards on any other NFC North team. I get it. You want to say the Bears coaching sucks? I don't know if it's a jab at Caleb. I don't know. But it's like, we kind of already know the coaching sucks. Like, can we just get through the season? And something has to be said too. And I kind of mentioned this yesterday on the show, or maybe it was Monday. These players have got to check themselves a little bit, and I get it. Rome can't control what his dad says, whatever. But, like, where's the leadership in the locker room? You're celebrating when you make plays down 38-13. Rome was dancing in the end zone after his second touchdown. You're getting killed. That's a toss the ball to the ref and go to the sideline. Like, you have to understand the situation. Jonathan Owens picks a ball off late off Brock Purdy. It is 38-13. You do not run to the end zone and do one of those celebrations. I got no problem with that if it's a game-changing play. I'm not one of these boomers that says you can't celebrate. But when you're getting blown out in your 7th straight loss, hand the ball to the ref and go sit down on the bench. It really is that simple. So I just think the mindset of this team is all messed up. It's why they need a new head coach, a new voice that's going to reset all this crap, because clearly, there has not been a tone setter in that building, and that is unacceptable. All right, my voice is about to be mute, so appreciate everybody for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We got a mailbag episode going out this afternoon. Hopefully the voice wakes up tomorrow for our live show. If not, we'll figure something out. 13 subs away from 111,000. We appreciate it. See you guys soon. Bear down.